Thank you so much, Mr. Deputy Secretary General Singh, distinguished permanent representatives, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure and an honor for me to lead the Italian delegation in this virtual joint committee between Italy and ASEAN. Today marks the first official meeting after the 53rd ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting recognized Italy as development partner of the association on September 9th, 2020. This was, let me say, a milestone for Italy's foreign policy in an area of increasing importance and geopolitical relevance during extraordinary times. Despite difficulties associated with the pandemic of COVID-19, Italy's candidacy received positive feedback in a very short time. Once again, I would like to convey our profound gratitude to the Secretariat and the Member States for all precious advice and supporting throughout the whole process. The Indo-Pacific region is today at the core of emerging global trends. ASEAN leads on many aspects: economic growth and market integration, promising demographics, cutting-edge technologies. Against this backdrop, Italy has focused its attention on widening its outreach while forging new partnerships in the main regional multilateral fora, such as the Pacific Island Forum and the Indian Ocean's Rim Association. Italy is working together with EU partners to develop a common strategic approach to the Indo-Pacific in order to engage with regional partners in a pragmatic, flexible, and multifaceted way, while upholding the values and principles we all share. The interconnected world we live in today and the complexity of the challenges we are confronted with, climate change, economic recessions, migration, disruptive technologies, pandemics, require a coordinated response. Only by cooperating can we achieve a stable micro-regional framework where free trade, opening shipping, and aerial routes are guaranteed, where our economies can prosper and our people thrive. We deem ASEAN as one of the most successful examples of regional integration, as well as a trusted provider of stability and economic growth. Its contribution to upholding freedom of navigation, preventing conflicts through a cooperative dispute settlement mechanism, and promoting pluralism and tolerance values has been unprecedented. Nevertheless, today, peace and stability in Southeast Asia are challenged. I would like to seize this opportunity to express my most heartfelt condolences for all the Burmese people who have lost their lives while exercising their civil rights and expressing their quest for democracy. The unacceptable loss of lives, with thousands wounded since the coup, is a direct responsibility of the military regime. In the past several decades, Italy has sincerely been committed to advocating Myanmar's democratic transition and national reconciliation, as well as ensuring inclusive socio-economic development. This is the reason why we strongly stand by the people of Myanmar who bear the hardship of decades of repression. It is the time to end any violence, free all those political detained, including President Win Myint and State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi, and restart the democratic transition abruptly interrupted on February 1st. Italy is working with the international community to foster a Pacific, inclusive solution. We believe that ASEAN has a crucial role to play in promoting peace and stability in Southeast Asia. We strongly encourage and we are willing to support your joint efforts for establishing a constructive, peace-conducive dialogue among all parties concerned in order to benefit of the people of Myanmar. The commitment of the Italian government to strengthening effective multilateralism, even in times of pandemics, is mirrored by the level of responsibilities that we bear in 2021. In our current role of G20 presidency, we are creating a space for discussing concrete solutions on three pillars: people, planet, and prosperity, with health as a cross-cutting topic. Together with G20 partners, our aim is to promote a quick and substantial green recovery and laying the foundations for shared and sustainable growth. With the goal to respond promptly to the adverse impact of the pandemic in our SMEs and their export capabilities, the Italian government approved last summer the so-called Patto per l'Export, Pact for Export. This strategy mobilizes public resources worth 5.2 billion and will help SMEs to face foreign markets with stronger skill sets. Digitalization, tailored trainings, e-commerce agreements, as well as trade finance are just some of the many tools the Italian government has dedicated to its enterprises for a stronger and quicker economic post-pandemic recovery. Inspired by the ASEAN Master Plan on Connectivity 2025, we are also ready to contribute to connectivity initiatives in the areas of sustainable infrastructures, digital innovation, seamless logistics, multimodal connectivity, and people mobility. Connectivity must develop in an open and inclusive way, in respect of the highest international standards and national development priorities, in a fiscally sound and environmentally sustainable way. Our action is complemented by a strong leadership on addressing climate change. As co-partner for the COP26 presidency, we are strongly committed to ensure the full and effective implementation of the Paris Agreement, while acting as facilitators for other countries to elaborate and implement ambitious national climate commitments in the short term and the successful transition to climate neutrality in the longer term. The Italian Special Envoy for COP26, Minister Tosca Barucco, will further elaborate on our engagement. While causing an unbearable loss of human lives and overburdening our sanitary systems, the COVID-19 pandemic has taught us that collective problems must be addressed through solidarity and cooperation, as we have had the opportunity to experience also thanks to the help of many ASEAN partners. Italy recognizes the role of COVID-19 immunization as a global public good and reiterates its support to the Access to COVID-19 Tools Accelerator and its COVAX facility as the best tool to provide access to safe and effective vaccine in an equitable manner. More than 38 million doses delivered to more than 100 nations. ASEAN countries have also received a first batch of doses, and more are expected to be delivered in the coming weeks. A great deal has been achieved, but much more remains to be done. Italy has accomplished its part and will continue to do so. The Global Health Summit, co-hosted by Italy and the European Commission next 21st May, will be an opportunity to promote the discussions on pandemic preparedness and relaunch the spirit of collective efforts that initiated the ACT Accelerator, a virtuous example of what the international community can do together when faced with the urgent global threat. I envisage a future of fruitful cooperation between ASEAN countries and Italy in the health sector, as also beyond the exchange based on COVID experiences. Italy's national health system is willing to offer a wide variety of exchanges between researchers, doctors, and managers to share our model of health public service, moving towards more integrated and digitalized healthcare, chronic care models, home care, mental health, green hospitals, prevention, and health promotion. In our vision, the establishment of a development partnership with ASEAN falls squarely within Italy's commitment with ASEAN countries to preserve effective multilateralism and enhance peace, stability, and economic prosperity for all. The partnership will serve as a tool to advance the institutional capabilities of the association while assisting its member states in areas of common interest. Furthermore, as ASEAN countries as a whole already account as the fifth largest economy worldwide and offer promising opportunities in terms of investments in bilateral trade, we expect to see a more robust economic interaction among our business operators. While Ambassador Latteri will go into details during the course of the meeting, let me just briefly touch on some of the main features of the development partnership. As extensively explained in the comprehensive document we have provided for your overview, prior to today's meeting, our partnership will rely on 5 main pillars of cooperation: political and security issues, connectivity and economic relations, socio-cultural exchange, agriculture and environment, health issues. In the same document, we have added a 6th pillar in order to encompass the overall effort, worth 225 million over the last decade, of the Italian cooperation, which grants cross-cutting development programs and humanitarian assistance to targeted ASEAN member states. In this framework, to the already completed initiatives, a number of planned projects can be developed in a flexible way, in line with the priorities and common interests of the ASEAN partners. As a convinced supporter of regional integration processes, we deem the contribution of ASEAN to be essential in a global context of emerging non-traditional security challenges. We therefore aim at increasing our profile of reliable providers of security through dissemination, knowledge sharing, and capacity building activities in areas such as peacekeeping, women empowerment, maritime security. Alongside the expertise and technology that our companies can provide, we have a solid institutional record of excellencies in Italian administrations. Allow me to highlight the essential role of all our ministries to design and implement the partnership. Later on this morning, Director Esposito will highlight the engagement of the Ministry of Interior in providing qualified training for fighting against organized crime, cybersecurity, and counterterrorism, just to name a few. The second pillar of our partnership aims at fostering Italian ASEAN companies, joint ventures, startups, public-private partnerships, and so on. We believe that involving the private sector in the socio-economic cooperation and connectivity strategy is a priority today, as infrastructure projects are considered from the standpoint of market-based economy, where the private sector is in the driving seat. To this end, private industry should be more consistently involved. Also, we shall not forget the emphasis on cultural cooperation, which we believe may foster dialogue and a stronger sense of commonality among people. We are ready to provide tools and expertise and share best practices in order to help ASEAN member states to preserve their amazing cultural heritage, also to attract more and more tourist flows and complement their resources. Our environmental cooperation, our recently established Ministry of Ecological Transition has allocated a substantial amount of resources, both bilaterally with 15 million allocated to the implementation of bilateral MOUs on sustainable development, and at the multilateral level, we are willing to support projects that will focus on a greener and more sustainable future in the ASEAN region. We are considering the possibility to co-funding the ASEAN Catalytic Green Finance Facility. We are therefore focusing on some possible projects that can yield the best results and pave the way for an enhanced cooperation. In addition, also due to Italy's contribution worth 550 million to the Green Climate Fund budget, the ASEAN Catalytic Green Finance Facility will receive a funding of $300 million by the Green Climate Fund, which will support low emissions climate change mitigation investments projects allocated in 5 ASEAN countries: Cambodia, Lao People's Democratic Republic, Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines. Furthermore, the CCF has already approved over the last years several projects on adaptation, mitigation, and cross-cutting issues related to climate change in the majority of ASEAN countries. I mean, for example, in Cambodia, 4 projects worth an estimated $104 million, Indonesia, Vietnam, and so on. Director Martinelli from the Ministry for Ecological Transition will further elaborate on the possibilities of our cooperation. Last but not least, I would like to stress the importance of cooperation on public health. we are in the final stages of approving a 2.5 million euros contribution to the multi-donor COVID-19 ASEAN Emergency Response Fund. This will complement the multilateral commitments of the Italian government to defeat the pandemic once and for all. Mr. Deputy Secretary General Singh, distinguished permanent representatives, ladies and gentlemen, I tried my best to give you an overall outline of the big investment in terms of political clout and financial resources Italy is doing vis-à-vis ASEAN and its members. The Italian ambassador and competent senior officials from Rome will go into further details and answer any questions may arise on how to best develop our partnership in the coming years. I believe today we are laying the foundation for a more prosperous and bright future, thanks to the cooperation and friendships between our regions. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope we can meet in person as soon as possible.